Hey, I am live. All right. First things first. Yay. I feel like I haven't done that in a long time. So, for anybody who's watched the Sunday live streams forever, that used to be how I always started them. So, good. Not quite morning anymore, unless you're west of me. Since we weren't going to do a live stream tonight, since there's no more Gundam Build Divers Rearize to do, figured I'd go do a live stream by myself. I'm drinking a little bit of me coffee. Oh, yeah, something I forgot to do was to monetize the stream for all that matters. Must do it. Must do it. I doubt anybody's really going to be watching, so let's get here. Oh yeah, so we have surpassed 6,900 subscribers, which is cool. And also, I completely missed the channel anniversary like 2 weeks ago. So August 21st was the channel anniversary, and I completely forgot about it because I'm a dingus. So I guess YouTube has changed that whole thing where you click monetization and then you have to say, oh, is it going to have bad language or sensitive subjects? Because it doesn't seem to have that anymore. And I don't know if that's because they just kind of streamlined it, so to speak, so it's more automatic or what, but that's that. So yes, channel anniversary, completely forgot. So I'm going to have to make up for that. I might end up doing like a giveaway or something because I haven't done that in a while. So let's see. We got a Gregory Zukov. Did I watch the Gundam Rearize Fan Fest on Gundam Info? I don't know what that is, so no would be the answer. Dude, I didn't expect this, Hida. Yes. Random live stream because random. It is what it is. I have a box that I wanted to open, so that's one reason I'm doing this. Plus, if you guys are fairly new to the channel, you don't really know that for the most part, I used to just do Sunday live stream chats. No, like before we started doing the reviews. But it would either be Sunday morning, having some coffee, which I'm currently having some coffee, or Sunday evening, having a beer, whatever. So nothing crazy going to happen today. But like I said, I missed the anniversary. So we are technically, it was a 4-year anniversary because we started in 2016. If I'm correct on that. It seems like one of those things I can never remember. So Miss Shoky and I got together in 2015. We didn't move here till 2016. So yes, 2016 was when the channel started. So yay, 4 years. 4 years in, beginning of year 5. And it's going. And I know that this channel has been super light on content other than live streams lately, and that's because I'm working on the custom. I've been posting some work in progress pictures, whether that's on Twitter, whether it's on the Discord or my Instagram or something like that. So some of you have seen what's going on. I actually have build logs I need to edit tomorrow. And we'll get that up for the patron to see. And then when the custom is done, essentially, I will do a reveal video. So in between, I also have to start Double October content because it's now September and I have a month to get my stuff together, and I have very few things currently for it. So this week I will have to plan out Double October in its entirety and determine exactly what I'm going to have. I just know this year will be a little bit less than previous years because there's less stuff for me to get and build. They live stream an event with voice actors of the series, but I missed it also. No, I didn't see that at all. I never saw it, never even heard it was coming. So, I mean, cool if they did it. They're doing a whole lot of conventions and stuff streaming online right now, so did never see it. Juan J. Olvera, hi. Oh, also, big news for anybody who cares. I did start a third channel because that's what you have to do sometimes. I I determined that, frankly, my algorithm on the second channel was probably screwed up by doing too many things, which is what happened on this channel. So the secondary channel is going to be for action figures, Taro videos, and vlogs. And then the third channel is specifically for like all the other things that have nothing to do with these nerddoms. So that channel is called It Doesn't Have to Make Sense. For the most part, it's reviewing things, mostly music videos and other little things like that. Currently, not really React series, like, because I don't really react to things so much as I analyze and break them down. And hey, guess who forgot to mute their phone? So I just started that channel yesterday, but all the videos that I had up on Shoky Reviews 2 are slowly posting over there for the next few days, and I have like 8 other videos of different types of music and stuff like that I like, different artists that I like, and basically just trying to share the other stuff that I enjoy with you guys. So if you are interested in any of that, go check out that channel, go subscribe. I had 10 subscribers and then it dropped to 8, so 2 people left. I did open it with a new artist I'd never heard of, another rapper with an interesting song. So go check that out. Go check out all the other videos. If you have seen them on the secondary channel, please go give them a rewatch on the new channel. So that's that. And I think I'm going to rename the second channel to Shoky Reviews 2, as in TOO. Actually, I should do that with the 00 logo. That'd be cool. Get Thomas on that. Do you count build kits? Like, yes, for Double October, anything that is a 00 based kit. Such things have already been in there. I did build fighters. I did the Shia Quanta one time. Technically speaking, a couple of kits that are already out, but I missed in time for Rearize, are going to be part of Double October instead because they are 00 based kits. So wink, wink, hint, hint. I did just place an order for a whole bunch of 00 stuff that will hopefully come in this week. So on top of tackling this custom, I also have to build and review all of the 00 stuff that I have to do. And then I'll probably have you guys also submit things like 00 builds and customs and stuff like that as well. So like we did last year, and maybe do a builder showcase or 2, just to, hey, come back here, just to fill out some stuff. So hey, there we go. That'll be fun. So yeah, like every year, it comes down to September is my time to build. So like Double October 3 was the craziest one with like 29 builds in 26 days or something like that, including a PG. So upwards of 5 HG kits in one night, which was easy because they were all Jinx kits. It's like when you've built one and you can literally just almost batch build them, it's kind of fun. It's also incredibly stressful. If there's 2 things on my channel that stress me out more than anything, it's Double October and contests. So I think the wifey's doing dishes or something. So as for Double October submissions, there's a thing on the Discord. So whenever I'm ready for that, I will post a video to ask for your submissions, things like that, and I'll detail that out. So if you guys have 00 stuff you want to show off, it'll be cool. And if you live locally here in the Houston area and you're willing to brave the wilds of the you-know-what, and actually come and show off some stuff that you have, that'd be cool too. What do I think of Rearize overall? How do you think series should... How do you think the series should improve upon? I'm assuming that's a what. I personally think the world build has enormous potential, has good foundations, but it's not layer well yet. Yes. Well, I mean, I figure we kind of covered that last week, but maybe not. Overall, I thought Rearize was actually a very good series. I was hypercritical of it at the beginning because I didn't want it to be another uh, Divers. Like Divers was so pitifully done, and this is one thing I have to look back on because I can look at it with a analytical eye that Divers was meant to be seen through the eyes of the kids. We may have been the audience, but Riku and his group, especially him and Yuki, were our eyes. We were seeing things through the eyes of children experiencing very adult things, not in a sexual manner, obviously. Excuse me. So when it came to Rearize, these are older, more experienced, with the exception of Par, and traumatized people trying to rebuild or re-rise from their own lives. And like the entire series is about recovery. It's about coming back to normal and improving. So everybody was starting at a deficit, with the exception of May, who was basically just starting out. She was at zero and had to learn everything. Everybody else was at a deficit. So, I mean, as a series, it was really good. It's a great character study, even though that's not necessarily what it was. So, under the guise of a silly Gumpla show, it actually was a deep character study into depression and trauma and how we deal with those things as human beings and what it's like to, or what it means to be human. And a lot of that was covered in Stargate. They had that with Teal'c starting out as a mindless soldier, basically doing what he had to do for his overlords, and then eventually becoming far more human, even though technically a Jaffa. In Star Trek Next Generation, Data was literally exactly like either Alice or May, a synthetic life form, birthed by whatever, and then having to learn to be human over time, kind of. Same thing with Spock, dealing with emotions he didn't know how to deal with because he was half human. So, I mean, that particular character study, it is very relevant in sci-fi and has been for decades, but it's interesting to see a new twist on it. Yeah, well, we gave our opinions on it in the reviews of the shows, but overall, I think that was kind of the point. Just it was way better. I mean, with the idea that we've been doing this weekly, I think our thoughts and overall feelings on the show kind of came through even before the conclusion. I think that having to take the break did hurt the series, and they had to very quickly recover, and they did what they could. There's obvious signs that some things necessarily weren't 100% planned out. There's a lot of probably more reused footage than they wanted to use, and clips that they probably needed to actually animate again, and certain scenes probably animated before others, so there's continuity errors, stuff like that. But that happens when you're on a time crunch, and then all of a sudden everything has to shut down, and then you have to make up for it a month later. So as a whole, I think that the series suffered for that, but that was fine. But world building, it was good at world building because it had to build a new world. The twist of the series was fantastic. Like sort of saw it coming to some degree. Like obviously something else was happening here. But it being a story about characters, it was more a story of characters than Divers was. But then for it to retroactively fold in the characters and the things that happened in the first series and actually add context, which to me made the original series better retroactively. I think what it means to be human to respond to pain by flailing aimlessly and makes things worse. That's true. But if you actually stop to think, usually that won't happen. But yeah. So like I said, it's the middle of the day. I don't expect a ton of people to come in, but it is what it is. And sorry if my nose is a bit runny. You know, coffee kind of loosens things up. And I did actually go visit Rodimus yesterday. Had to go trade him some stuff, so I had a couple items for him, and he was loaning me a couple of items for a review series that is coming up. So look at it this way. Here's what's on my plate right now. I have to edit and or record a bunch of other either music reactions or things like that. I have to work on this custom, which is sitting right here. I've done a lot of work so far, but still nowhere near done. I have an enormous, no pun intended, review series to start over here. 2 other items currently in my possession I have to review, one of which is already up on the Patreon. I have 2 new items out there I need to review. I have more items on the way, and I have to do Double October on top of all of that. So you guys might not see me a lot for September. So it is what it is. This is one of those times where I need to plan things out again. I have not followed a very specific plan for most of this year. I used to plan out every review when it was coming out, list out all the stuff that I needed to get done, and then had a nice checklist and everything like that. I abandoned that in like January. But I need to get back to it because I have to keep a schedule again. I'm guessing your critique about Build Divers was unrealistically shiny and colorful. No. I liked some of the designs and things like that, and I liked certain characters of Build Divers, but it was a very shallow series for what they were going for. Now, retrospectively or retroactively, looking back as it being the setup for Rearize, totally makes sense. You're seeing, because you see events from a completely different point of view. You know, we get to see the other side. We get to see other things that were happening from that series with a whole different context with Rearize. And to me, that makes, Divers better. Now, I will say part of my dislike of Divers did come from the fans, people shitting on it. And because people were hating the series and I was trying to review the kits, like I had almost every Divers kit and was trying to get them out to coincide with the releases of episodes. And that's when all of my reviews started to take a nosedive in views. Nobody wanted to watch Rearize reviews, the kits, that is, because the series was tanking in everyone's eyes. So, I could say my opinion on the original Divers series was probably hindered by that experience. Like, it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't that good. And considering who wrote it and the creators of that series, it's really strange that it wasn't what it is. But like I said, tying it to Rearize technically makes it better. Good points on it, considering you said the Build Divers Twitter post will have Build Series 4-way Pro Tag Battle. Oh. Hey, Eric. What's up? Eric has been working on some cool stuff. He just finished up a custom. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch Build Divers with fresh eyes, and see if it's better. There were some good episodes. I'm not gonna lie. Like, some of the battles were cool. Some of the other stuff was interesting to see. The concept of the brake decals was interesting. And then, there was something of it that was very Digimon, which is really what it is. It was very Digimon tamers. And that's not a bad thing, but it was a lot of that. And it's just like, some of the characters I like Ogre, I like the Champ, I like, all the more adult characters I liked. And those are the guys you were supposed to like because they were helping the protagonist. And they had the experience, they had the cool suits and everything like that. Also, it probably doesn't help the series that one of my least favorite Gundams is merged with one of my favorite Gundams, you know, being the Double O Sky. It's like, that might have hindered the way I liked it. You're making barbacoa tacos. Nice. I want some tacos. You never make me some tacos. Yeah. I think that and it's hard to say this at the same time. The Divers had a lot of fan service in it because of the kind of series it is. Fighters and Fighters Try also had a lot of fan service, but not in the same way. You know, being able to go to the world of GBN that were different Gundam series things, you know, entire forces dedicated to a specific series, things like that. Oh, that reminds me, I need to try to do. Oh God, that's going to take forever. Find every Patrick cameo and slap it together in a supercut. Just go for all the copyright, just all the copyrights. I don't know, like, and then like I like certain suits from Divers, other ones I'm just not a fan of. And that kind of came down to the kits not being good, which is funny. So the Gym 3 Cheese Master, or the Velveeta Gym, since it broke on me while I was building it, and while I think it broke in the review, if I remember correctly, that really hindered my liking of that. And look at it this way. I was so done with the series that I sold or traded the final kits from that series to Rodimus to build. So when he did the Jagan Blastmaster or Beammaster, whichever one it is, and he did the Double O Sky, those were mine that I sold to him because I just flat out did not want to do them. I was so done with that series. My ear is ringing really hard right now, in case you guys wanting to know. Riku's new Double O Sky improved a ton on the looks. Makes more individual to him. Color scheme was based on Sarah's colors. I don't see that, but I guess that just doesn't make. That seems really dumb in my opinion. It's like, hey, I'm going to color my Gundam the way my girlfriend dresses. I mean, like the Mobius, I don't really care. I'm not going to build it. I'm not going to waste my time. It's not a significant enough change for me to care about the kit. I'll put it that way. Sure, it comes with new weapons and it's a recolor, but I didn't like the original one in the first place, so I don't know that I'm going to buy it. Steve, you rewind it. I can't rewind. I have no ability to rewind the universe, Steve. Sorry, I had notifications there. Okay, so we're going to take a break here for a second so I can open this damn box. That was half the point of this, you know? That's the reason why I'm holding up some stuff. Oh, wait, quick. It's a live stream. Trophy of apathy. Yep, zero fucks given. And that's topical because today's box is from Big Shot Toy Works. Easy books. And they're that concerned about it, they put Fragile on it. I did manage to snag this at work yesterday, though oddly enough, the tracking showed that it was out for delivery, but in fact, it was put on a truck for Monday, not for Saturday. So I was looking through the truck that should deliver to me on Saturday, and I couldn't find it. I'm like, what the heck? Where's my box? So they had to run the tracking. They eventually found out that it was on the Monday truck. So I got this a couple days early. Okay, so for comic book fans, Steve might actually like this. I don't know. So there's that. One thing that's cool about Big Shot, I like how they use this. Look at this cool padding stuff. Look at this. So this looks like the camo netting the army uses. This would be cool for a display. Okay, so. Oh wow, it's double wrapped. Okay, hold on. They're serious. Hold on. Okay, so got that out. Sorry. That's some cool stuff, by the way. So I gotta wonder how long this has been sitting around. That's got some sun age on it. So, and I don't know the reference here. I just know that the particular thing is designed originally by Mike Mignola. So Big Shot Toy Works, monkey with a gun, which totally looks like something from the Hellboy universe. I'm sure Steve, being an old school comic book fan, knows who Mike Mignola is. Higher than Sky Effects. Okay, it's gonna be one of those weird ones because it's foam. I apologize if anybody hates the sound of styrofoam. Like I said, apologies. If I remember correctly, this might actually be like, it's not, okay, this one's been opened, so I know this is probably one they've had on display. Oh, man. I don't believe this one's made of PVC. This is cool. Hold on. Oh, man, look at that. Hold on, look at this. Sorry, my white balance is like blowing it out. Look at this thing. So this falls under, what the hell? Is it broken? No, it's the mold. Okay. It's just the way the mold's separated. So it's done in like a bone color and then washed over. Look at that. That is gorgeous. It's a little heavier than the things. Doesn't feel like PVC. Got the nice felt bottom there so it doesn't slide. Like, got the skull there. You got the M. There, a couple expended shells. Just interesting. Like, I don't know the reference or anything like that. I think it was just done off a little single bit of artwork. I don't know if it's a full-on comic book thing, but to go with, like, you know, my Funicorn statue, it's the same felt, by the way, which is also, this is very heavy for what it is. So this is not thing. It's either ceramic or something else. I'm gonna bump this up. There we go. Monkey is from Hellboy. Thank you. Okay, so I think it's awesome. So that's actually a lot like the Peacemaker or whatever. It's really freaking cool. Also cool statue. Yes. So I'm not always here to talk about Gundams and Gunpla, guys. I have so many other cool things. I just read that it says higher than Skype. Higher than Skype effects. That's funny. Most of the characters Gunpla more personal to them in that series. Hero to Planet came from Eve's ideas. Aegis Knight from Cosme because Nori's his father. 00 to Sarah. Okay. Well, I mean, he already had a 00 and then he met Sarah. I mean, it is, well, more or less. Do you think the Sunrise will do another, like, Rearize as an actual alternate universe? Good idea or not? I mean, probably. I'd rather them stay in this universe because I like it, but I currently want to go back to the Build Fighters universe and wrap things up over there because they left that so open. It's annoying. And yes, I know some mangas did more things with it, but that's not the same because not everybody reads the mangas, you know, or has access to them or can find them anywhere. So just put out a mainline series or Battlogs or OVAs. I mean, Battlogs are just OVAs. The monkey had taken Hellboy's gun and killed some monsters and turns it on Hellboy. So that is his gun. That's what I was just thinking. So is that why he's got the little crown floating above his head on the other thing? I mean, it's a cool thing. I mean, I don't know if you're interested, Steve, but they have it on sale right now. $25 off. It's still pricey for what it is, but it's still limited in what it is. It's a really neat piece. It's like I just want to have like random pieces, like, and apparently because I follow Big Shot on Instagram now, they're working on more stuff. You know, they wanted to get more artists in. So, Steve, if you got any cool stuff that you've designed, and maybe they want, you know, maybe submit something to them. Maybe they'll make a statue version of it. Except for the people around. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the complete lack of context for it. It's like I could tell. Well, Mike Mignola, obviously knowing he's from Hellboy, and then you know it looks like a Hellboy comic, I should say. Excuse me. Artistry. I was like, this has got to be Hellboy related. Hold on, I got to pick up some trash over here. Apologies. So, given what I have to do this week, I've got to get this room straightened up. So I might take a couple days off the custom. Like, I'm not going to build today at all. I'm going to edit. And then tomorrow, you know, it's a holiday. But then again, I also have Tuesday off. So between those couple days, I'm going to film reviews and stuff like that because I have some Jet Boys over there that need to be reviewed and stuff to compare them to, which is interesting. But yeah, I mean, don't take this the wrong way. I've spent many weeks now talking about Rearize. It's like, it's fine if you guys got questions, but I'm a little bit Rearized out. I like the series, and actually, I'm talking to my friend Joe. If you watch the one-on-one podcast with him, he's finally since he doesn't like to watch a series as they're progressing, he waits till they're over. So he saw Divers, really didn't care for it the same way most people do, and he was asking me if he should watch Rearize, and I'm like, yeah, you absolutely need to watch Rearize. If you didn't like Divers, you need to watch Rearize. It will help. So now that it's over, he's going to go back and rewatch it, but he's going to have to wait for a while, and that sucks because he's got an anime backlog already, so to speak. Here, unconfirmed rumors that the Bill universes will bridge. I'm uncharacteristically hopeful. I don't want them to. I don't want them to at all. I like them being separate universes. I don't need all of my fandoms in one place. I think that's ridiculous. I don't like. I like universes crossing over sometimes for out of universe stuff, but I don't need them to feel like they're in the same place and the same. And, you know, oh look, these characters are crossing over and doing. I don't need that at all, and I probably won't like it. I'm going to be honest with you. It's like I like my fighters over here, and I like divers over here. And I like that they're two separate universes. I don't need them to be the same. I don't need a crossover. You know, it's like, let's have 00 crossover with Turn A. No, that's stupid. It's like, it's just not necessary. You know, I'd be okay if they gave us some OVAs related to the mangas, because there's two separate mangas. Give us a couple OVAs from those guys. You know, I'm down for that. I mean, I'm still down for that to happen for IBO. And hell, IBO's been over for quite some time, and they're still doing things related to it. So it is what it is. It's also like with the 00 extra stuff, you know, with the stage play and the all the other things attached to it. I don't recognize any of that as being a part of it. It's just like, no, it ended with Awakening of the Trailblazer. This stuff does not matter to me because it kind of takes away from the story we already had. Because sometimes fan service after the fact can really harm what existed. So that's why I'm okay with things being separate. I'm fine with that. It's like, you know, it's like instead of completely retelling original Gundam, they gave us Gundam the Origin. You know, so it's new, sort of different, in a way, a bit like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, where it's the same story, but not. Same characters, but not. That kind of thing. But I don't need divers and fighters to cross over. I don't. Not in any way, shape, or form. I don't need them to. I liked the references in divers to fighters, because that way it even shows that fighters in that universe is a work of fiction, and I'm fine with that, because I like that concept of these meta universes, but I don't need them to somehow cross over. Marvel universes and DC comics, I'm not a fan of Marvel DC crossing over. It's okay, but I don't like it. I think it's unnecessary. The amalgam see, here's the thing. Marvel and DC crossing over is silly. Marvel and DC merging with the amalgam universe is interesting, because it creates new characters based off of fusions of original characters, but you don't have to have the weird confusingness of it. Now, there's a couple weird exceptions, because they sort of live in the same universe. So like G.I. Joe Transformers, okay, that 100% makes sense that they are in the same universe. That the Transformers are operating on the same Earth that G.I. Joe and Cobra do. Cool, totally makes sense. Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, totally makes sense that they live on the same planet. Now, Ninja Turtles and Batman, while not bad, was a little weird that they're somehow in the same universe and has never once been referenced at all. So, but then again, that's more of a Elseworld stories, and Elseworld stories are okay. Blazing Oshawott, what up? But I don't need, but also DC and Marvel, I don't know. I don't see that as the same thing as divers and fighters. I mean, I understand where you're going with that, but I don't see that as the same thing. Now, so one thing that does bother me that's in this line is how Movie Flash ended up on TV Flash during the Crisis event. That bothers me, but mostly because I don't like Movie Flash. It's like I don't need Movie Flash to suddenly get there. But here's the funny part. Apparently, and I didn't get to see the Crisis event just yet. We're way behind on our Flareoverse, because I only just started getting on Netflix. The apparently Barry Allen in the DCEU had not come up with the name The Flash yet. And apparently by meeting the Barry Allen from the TV universe, he got the name The Flash, and also where his redesign of his suit in the Flash movie is going to come from, where he gets a much more streamlined, smoother suit so he can run faster, whereas his suit looks like something rejected from Saban in the 90s from these movies, where it's all armored up and stuff like that and pieced together instead of being smooth. So Dark Claw was terribly naff, though. I don't know what that means. I like the idea of Dark Claw. I thought he was cool. I still insist, conspiracy theory, that IBO mobile armors were built to protect Aeolius Schemberg's technology. Nope. Because I think he would have tried to avoid AI as much as possible. As smart as he is, he would have tried to avoid AI. Because he wouldn't need AI, because he wanted to expand the thing. Now, not really, because the Innovato were not artificial intelligence. They were artificial humans, but not like cyborgs, not like robots. They were just weird, genetically created false innovators that could use quantum brainwaves. Could use quantum brainwaves to communicate and things like that, because they were there to help spark the existence of real innovators. So he set into motion a ton of stuff just to make sure that humanity was evolved enough when aliens eventually showed up. And he was right. Somehow, this dude predicted and influenced so much in his universe. in no way, shape, or form do I see IBO and Double O taking place in the same universe at all, because they don't operate on the same technology. They don't operate in a lot of the same ways. And personally, I like them as separate universes. And it's fine in your own head, in your own head canon. If you want to have that, that's fine. You can have that. It just, for me, as a fan of both universes, they have nothing to do with each other at all. Because either IBO is the predecessor to Double O and is somewhere in that 200 years of things, but then that really extends the timeline for Double O, because from the late 2000 to when it takes place later, there's no room for IBO to happen. So you would have to have the universe got reset bullshit that I don't believe in. So there's that. No, the main problem, I think, what is it that I think in a lot of ways IBO borrowed from Halo, with colonies trying to control the colonies remotely, and then having to invent technology to quell insurrectionists, and then said technology necessarily getting out of hand, and then having to apply different technologies to deal with that, except for the fact there's no flood, and their own technology ended up becoming the Covenant, so to speak. There's no aliens in Double O. So the mobile armors created to deal with other problems, and then kind of going rogue and doing their own thing to wipe out humanity when they were not meant to continue to do that. Makes sense. Oops. We shouldn't have done that. Once again, proving why they didn't need AI. Also, quantum computers would have made life incredibly easy in the IBO universe. It's like I don't need those technologies crossing over, because they stand fine on their own. My mom is calling me for some reason. Hold on. Sorry. Double O age IBO. Is that greater than? Is that what you're saying there? Double O is greater than age is better than IBO, or is that they lead into each other? Because that also doesn't make sense. I don't think I'd even call mobile armors artificial intelligence, more like ambulatory security devices. No, they had AI. They weren't hyper intelligent. They weren't like us, but they were like Ed 209 smart. They did have brains. But then again, technically speaking, the Gundams have AI in that universe. It's a partitioned AI that, links with its, pilot. So, Gushin was probably lesser evolved than Barbatos, but Barbatos being hooked up to Mika the way it was far more evolved and had far more of its own intelligence and its own programming and its own reaction. So they borrowed some of the technology. This is the way I look at it, that the Gundams were programmed with a lot of the same artificial intelligence that the mobile armors had, except that the mobile armors were meant to target and wipe out humans and other technology, probably to keep them down, if nothing else. And then the artificial part that told them to constantly reproduce and make their own armies. Could you imagine if multiple mobile armors got together, took in a whole lot of resources and then just suddenly showed up with thousands of plumas. I mean, you only need a few to basically wipe out the surface of a planet, you know? And if you really need to quell people or you need to take over, that'd be a great way to do it. But unfortunately, if you lose the off switch, then you got to come up with something bigger or more powerful. So we got to make these other machines that can really do it. So mobile suits and Gundams were created to help defeat the mobile armors. So imagine a mobile armor controlled by Gundams instead of having funnels and such. I mean, imagine a Gundam controlling a bunch of plumas instead. Like, so what if they had taken and reprogrammed a buttload of plumas to help take down other mobile armors? That would be awesome. Would a Galaxy War Gundam be fun for you? I don't know what that is. Multiple species of battle would be fun. Huh? Mobile base, actual powerful. I mean, do you mean like if they had like one of those crossover games where it's like different mobile or different Gundam universes coming together in a crossover battle game, or like a RTS or something like that? I mean, I don't know, maybe. I mean, you get all these other games, you know, the Super Robot Wars, where you get all these other universes crossing over, and like in some ways those are fine, but at some point fan service doesn't fill in the need for something that's good, but you know, any excuse to pilot your favorite thing. History progression, my personal headcanon. Oh, no. I don't believe that at all, because each one has hundreds of years between their instigating events to the next. So the only way that 00 gets you to age is, once again, if humanity ceases to exist and starts all the way over, and then they invent mobile suits, and then that ends up a big gap, and then we have mobile suits again. The only minor, like, IBO and age make more sense because Mars comes into play. But in that one, they don't colonize the surface. They have the floating city, the floating colony instead, which I always found weird. Because they managed to terraform things. So that's a big difference, is that they terraformed more places in IBO than they did in 00. 00 had colonies and other things like that, but they didn't have, as far as I know, didn't have anything terraformed. So the technological differences between the different series never really crosses over for me. Galaxy Open Wars and more Star Trek like. Oh, you mean like, so we're starting out at Earth and we have the Federation and whatever like that, and then you end up encountering other I mean, it would have to have a good fiction behind it, or else I wouldn't really care. It would just be making shit up. Barbatos, a GN drive would become a berserk. Trans Am Barbatos would be overpowered. Excuse me. Maybe. But like, here's the crazy thing. So Trans Am, the way Trans Am works is incredibly powerful, but also a double-edged sword, like you do. The Gundams in full-on berserk or attack mode in IBO are already moving so fast normal people aren't perceiving what's happening. So you're talking about the most ace pilots of both sides in the same place at the same time, watching Mika go berserk on the mobile armor. And this wasn't even full berserk. This was just half berserk, so to speak. And he was moving so fast and with so much power that the people around him were just like, okay, like they weren't keeping up with what he was doing. The mobile armor was keeping up with what he was doing. So it's already moving. I wouldn't say as fast as Trans Am, but I bet once he goes full berserk with Lupus Rex, he could probably almost match Trans Am in a normal Gundam, not something ridiculous like the 00. So I don't think that Trans Am is necessary. It would probably be a problem. I think the thing between GN drives and AHAB reactors, the way they both, well, let's say a solar furnace and an AHAB reactor are very different, because the GN drive is fine for powering the Gundam and making it move and creating thrust and all that good shit, whereas the AHAB reactor powers the Gundam and stuff like that, but for particularly moving around, he does still need fuel for thrusters and things like that. And once he runs out of fuel, he can't move that fast anymore. So GN drives technically would have an advantage in that factor, but you would have to, there's no, you get a trade-off, but I'd say you have to have one or the other, a GN powered Barbatos or an AHAB powered Barbatos. You can't have both, because I don't think those would work out too well. Before the battle even started. But see, I think you wouldn't even, if you really went there, you wouldn't need Trans Am for Barbatos to go that fast, because the way the GN drives, by essentially changing the mass of the mobile suit so that it can move with very little effort or power output, you wouldn't need Trans Am to go that fast. It can already go stupid fast on its own. So just a GN drive would be beneficial to Barbatos. You wouldn't even need the Trans Am. So just GN instead of AHAB would make a difference. Though technically speaking, AHAB reactors are more reliable than GN drives, because an AHAB reactor runs indefinitely and can't be destroyed, which is insane. Whatever mobile armor hierarchy exists, it sounds like Skynet. I think that, yeah, it was Skynet, but with less overall control. More like basic Skynet. Yes, I would say that. They started it for a reason, and then it went away. Sorry, I had to skip it. What if the Plumas are equipped to repair and service MAs? Yes. What said they can't make new MAs? They probably could, but I have a feeling I'd have to check if mobile armors are AHAB powered, because I don't think they would have the ability to create a new AHAB reactor, which is actually sort of the thing. So they only made however many AHAB reactors, and then they basically have just been reusing them forever. So it is what it is. I mean, I'm sure they can make new AHAB reactors, but I don't think the Plumas have that power. They can just do repairs, and how the mobile armor creates Plumas in the first place makes zero sense, because there's no, at least from what you can see of the anatomy of a mobile armor, there's no physical place for a Pluma to be made and or come out of. Let's just put it that way. So assuming that it's not just a whole bunch of nanotech, it's a weird system in the first place. But I think that if they had something along the lines of Plumas, which, let's look at it this way, mobile workers were probably created as alternatives to Plumas. So if a mobile armor, let's look at it this way. What if the mobile armor was never meant for attacking humans, but it was meant as an extraction device to bore into the planet to look for half metal with its cannon, and then its AI got corrupted, and therefore it turned on the humans it was supposed to be working for? And the fact that Plumas do what they do, they were meant to scavenge and everything like that. Or am I actually reading into the real history of said devices, and that's what happened? They were originally mining weapons that turned into weapons of war. Whoa. Hold on. There was a jump there. Sorry. Gundam Galaxy Wide Wars, as in we follow a carrier with mobile suit, having to follow commands from different planets and travel to and from battle. I mean, almost like a Stargate version, not Stargate, StarCraft mobile game in a way, but starring your Gundam suits. I mean, sure, if you want that. I don't feel I need that, but cool. When all else fails, put a GN drive on it. I've never been a fan of just slap a GN drive on it, despite my love of 00. Given the way IBO works, I would say slap an AHAB reactor on it, because once again, you would have more durability and you could play with a few more tricks. See, in 00's universe, if you had AHAB reactors on ships, then you could have artificial gravity all you like without size. Even the celestial being was so large, but it didn't even have its own real sense of gravity, even given how massive it was. And as far as I know, in 00, they never managed artificial gravity. They were either using rotation or just making do with 0G. But in IBO, because AHAB reactors can create artificial gravity, that's how their colonies can have gravity. That's how their ships can have gravity. And when they need to turn it off to float around, they can do that, stuff like that. So, I mean, the fact that they run indefinitely and they're indestructible kind of makes them superior to GN drives, which are super hard to make. You know, you can only make a GN drive under very specific circumstances on Jupiter in the atmosphere with certain particle reactions. And then, boom, you get yourself a GN drive. At least a pure GN drive. Solar power for the win. Nano machines, image of plume as is probably like Unicron. Yeah. I'd like to make an IBO custom hybrid Gundam frame and GN drive using Psycho frame. Nah, I mean you can. It would just be nuts. We don't talk about that. We've already done that though. We've already basically made that happen with the. I think that was my phone buzzing. With the Quantinix or whatever we called it. Or quantum phoenix fusion that can break reality just by existing. Because I don't know, like, combining psycho frame with quantum fields combined with anything, all the other bullshit magic in those things. It's like, that's funny. The magic systems in Gundam is so funny because they have to base them off of technology. And psycho frame is the thing that makes the least amount of sense when it comes to a magic system. Oh, what did my computer just do? That was strange. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought the mobile armors were AHAB. It would make sense that they were, because even after being shut off for 300 years, they just fire right up and good to go. Yeah, so they're AHAB powered. That makes sense. Hello, Nick Daly. Disagree, not agree. Okay. I like how you personally disagree with it. How do you disagree with the fact? It's like the wiki's based off the information given by the people who created the thing. They are AHAB powered, which makes sense. Bye, Gregory. Take a lot of brain power to and resistance to use both psychoframe and GN particles. Not really. Because I mean, the thing is, if you're a new type, it seems like really just using psychoframe is just secondary nature, especially if the machine is built to do it. But having a having a twin drive, hold on, you got to specify. Having the twin drive from the 00 or the 00 Quanta, specifically the Quanta because of its specific abilities, would give you a whole lot to do. But the thing is that, say your GN sword bits would technically be psycho frame that are moving around, which is about the same thing. And then basically using massively dense GN fields to create things instead of Minovsky particles. So there's that. But the fact that Phoenix or anything that powerful of a new type combined with that much psychoframe can affect time and reality itself. So add in a GN drive to it to really be able to break quantum physics, and it is what it is, or at least a twin drive. Yeah, Apocrypha base. I don't know. I don't think you would, if you could get a GN drive with the durability of an AHAB reactor, then go for it. The problem is GN drives and solar reactors can be destroyed fairly easy, whereas AHAB reactors are virtually indestructible. That's why they tend to recover mobile suits and their AHAB reactors as best they can, instead, because they can't destroy them and they don't want them falling into anybody's hands. And that's why Barbatos was being used to power the what was it, CPG base, CCG, whatever it was. Before they became Tekadon, he was being used to power the base because the AHAB reactor was that strong they could just do whatever they needed to do. Whereas GN drives don't really work that way. They're more how do I say this? They create the particle yield, but you have to have storage for said particles. And when you run out, it has to make more before you can really do anything, which is the biggest problem with Transam. And that's why you have to do what you got to do and then hope it doesn't hit the burnout section. Instead, you turn it off before you're done so that you're not completely out of particles and just basically running on empty. Yeah, so that's the main drawback to a GN drive is the limited storage and lack of durability. You know, they're super powerful. Don't get me wrong by any means. You know, but that's also being applied to beam weapons and stuff like that. So if you have, let's go with a twin drive AHAB and GN drives that are synced to each other. So you've got one that can create gravity and the other one that can distort mass. So then you're really messing with all of reality, because basically all of reality is held together by gravity. So, you know, you could really do a lot with that based on the more popular interpretation of Lilith. I just wish build divers would come to real life and have so many unique suits. Just make your own suits. You can. Did you literally just say I basically wish I could create my own things? Or do you mean you wish that every suit being used in divers, or at least GBN, so to speak, would be real? I mean, we have Gundam custom games and stuff like that. Kyle Rayner. So I double O GN condensers on a joint so they can recharge to GN drives. Yeah, no, I mean they have a lot of the Gundams. The Gundams are all particle storage. Every bit of them is they can hold as much particle storage as they can within their own bodies or armor. That's why Cerevian, Virtue, and Raphael were the way they were. Those were massive particle storage because of massive particle weapons. And then that's why he had the problem when it came to using Natalie by itself, because it had virtually no particle storage. And then whenever you get to the idea that they didn't have an actual GN drive or solar furnace for the O Gundam, and it was using particles tank, you know. And then the same thing in the movie when the 00 first came out, it didn't have GN drives anymore. It just had particle tanks, you know, condensers, so to speak, extra big tanks in place of the drives that were destroyed. So, I mean, they can function, they just can't do more, so to speak. There's no reason for me to believe this, but I imagine Psychoframe would store GN particles. I mean, maybe. Luis Montoya, hi. I see them in full scale. I don't know why you would want that. That's funny. Yeah, you got to have a lot of GN. You got to have a lot of condensers. I think that's also one reason why the Grey's Ein looked the way it did, is because, you know, it had basically super joints and probably more. You had the really big fat joints on its elbows, arms, legs, things like that to help it move faster and more powerfully, to counter the Gundams. I mean, it would really. I don't know I don't know enough about how Psychoframe does what it does, how it charges, so to speak. I don't know if it's the Minovsky particles being pushed through Psychoframe that makes it do what it does, or if Psychoframe in and of itself, being made of the Jaburo dirt, gives it its ability to be controlled. And then its energy just comes from the energy of the new type that's controlling it. Because seemingly, even when a mobile suit is essentially dead, it can still use the psycho frame to move itself. Or you could use it to move funnels and stuff like that, as long as the person is still about. I don't know how they store energy and stuff like that. I mean, it's an interesting theory by all means, but I feel like the main thing that the psycho frame would do if it was GN charged would basically just be GN funnels. They would serve the same purpose that the sword bits did for the Quanta. I mean, there's no way around that in a funnel sense, I should say. But if it was acting like particle storage for the entire Gundam, fine. I mean, it is what it is. Can effectively expend GN particles faster than a drive can produce them. Yes and no. Just look at it as they just have an entire body made of gas tank. You know, the armor on Cerevian Virtue was almost entirely all particle storage, so that they could have massive GN fields that could run for longer. They could have massive beam particle cannons that would fire off massive shots, things like that. But you know, if they're using the storage and the drive is basically being a generator to make more particles, it would just depend on the speed of which you could do that. But if he were to sit there and do the mass release, which you see and hear him do several times when he releases like the massive ball of energy, it's basically literally opening all of the storage into a single shot while in transam. So triple the output and put everything you've got into a single shot. Yes, technically it would just be kaput. It would just be running on base power until it could charge up and fill those tanks. But also having the ability to charge them externally, because you know you could get GN particles from other things. It's interesting. But also anything. So like when they put the Ptolemy 2 into Transam using Arios, you know, that was cool. It's like, so they could expand a Transam system from a Gundam into the ship, because the ship is also GN powered, so to speak. No, it's not. GN particles are light. Those things are not the same. Nothing. Look at it this way. Psycho Frame is made of Jaburo dirt, because that's just what they had to do with it, and that's why new types react to it. That's why more new types come from certain places. But in the case of GN particles, those are created due to the GN drives. Nothing is made of GN particles. Though when you break it down on the quantum level, and when they quantize, in a way, they're breaking down. Like this is, I had to explain this to Rodimus when I was explaining him how GN drives would function. The reason the 00 can quantize the way it does is probably due to the fact that GN particles affect mass. So when you basically have reached zero mass, and now what you have can move faster than light and be pushed through the quantum barrier, that's basically how it quantizes, I assume. Because it's got twin drives, its output is squared compared to that of a normal Gundam or GN powered thing, meaning that it can go faster, farther, longer, breaks down the mass. So if it's negating the entire mass of the thing, it can just go literally move everything that it's made out of from here to there. So he's not moving so fast. They're looking at an after image. His mass, his particles, the things that the suit and everything in himself are made of, are broken down and basically transported, because GN particles can change mass, which is so fucking weird. Gundam Build 5 did come to real life. They had a promotion 4 years ago where you can bring your own custom gunplay into a 3D scanner, which takes over hours, and you can fly around for a couple minutes. I think he literally means he wants to see them in real life, like 1-to-1 scale. Robert White, what up? Just bought the Faz and the Hakishiki. What size? MG or other? Yeah. So, you know, GN particles and quantum fields, quantum brainwaves are the magic system of 00. Ahab reactors and Elia Vijnana system. The Eliashki system is the magic for IBO. I think it's funny that they negate, like, the beam technology is something so different in that universe. They're like, yeah, we kind of negated the idea for beam spamming because it's like we needed to be able to survive what this thing was doing to us, so we had to find a way to negate it with nano laminate paint. I still think that's stupid. They're like, yeah, just spray this coating on here. It'll be fine. It'll be the most durable armor ever and actually protect you from beams. Like, it's just paint. I like the idea that it was just armor. And I get Seed had it too with their bullshit, but they had to charge it, you know. No, Quanta's got 2. That's why it's a 00. Why do you think it only has 1? The 00 Riser quantizes, but so does the Quanta. Quanta takes all of that technology and takes it to the next level. That has more advanced GN drives. There's 1 in the shoulder and 1 in the chest. How do you think it only has 1? But the thing is that the 00 Riser helped it synchronize and increased its output. But you got that without a riser of any kind on the Quanta. It already did the thing. And actually having the drives basically come together to synchronize is how that thing could. But it quantized the quantizes using a portal instead of just itself. So they basically had to perfect the technology, because look at it this way. The only way that works is that it creates the particle gate to project the Quanta to where the L's came from across the galaxy, or at least I don't know where exactly that was. So it goes into the gate, and then the sword bits follow it through its own gate. No, it just quantized itself across the galaxy. Instead of a small distance in the middle of a battle, it just went poof. I'm just going to shoot myself and my particles across the galaxy on the quantum level. Okay, 1/100. Hyakishiki had beam resistant coating. No, I know they have beam resistant coating, but I liked when you call it nano laminate armor, it seems like, oh, that means that the metal it's made out of is that thing. No, that metal is just okay, and you just spray this shit on it, and it's now 10 million times stronger and the most durable thing ever. That's my only problem. It's basically like, oh, I just sprayed it with Flex Seal and now it's good. You know, it's like that's the only reason I don't like that technology being presented that way. It's like, I'm fine with the idea of what it does. I just don't like the presentation of said thing. Now, I do like the idea of the gamma nano laminate sword that can cut through it. It's like, that technology needed to be perfected. The technology that the Astaroth Origin had. The sword that actually breaks it, literally, because it pumps Ahab particles through it and changes the nature of said nano laminate, and literally can just cut through it and breaks down the thing that makes it better. So that thing was made to kill things with nano laminate armor, and it just went away. That sucks. I know it was experimental and all that, so that would have been a fun thing to see continue in the universe, in my mind. So it is what it is. Now, the only thing is, like, 00 didn't have anything anti-beam, so to speak. It's just like, hey, we got beams. It's cool. The only thing you really could use was GN fields to deflect it, because the different armies were using solid weapons for the longest time until they gained beam weaponry. And I think that because I talk about this in comparison, I think one reason I like 00 more than some other Gundam series is that the main reason for celestial being to exist is to use overwhelming force to quell battles, turn the world against them to get the world to unify and humanity to evolve. Whereas other Gundam series, it's this faction versus this faction, and a Gundam happens in the middle of said faction. This was this faction hates this faction hates this faction, and then you got these guys over here to say, we're going to actually kick all of your asses. And so they come in, they stomp out here, they stomp out here with all their armed interventions until they're like, you know what? We can't win this. But I bet if we put our heads together, we could find a way to beat this overwhelming force. So like it was a very different type of change brought about. In the UC, war has never seemed to stop. And that's with my minor knowledge of the tech of what's happening. So if you go from the events of Origin, which was already, that was the beginning of the war between Xeon and the Federation, Earth and the colonies, and then you got the other sides that are coming in there along the way, all the way through Unicorn. It's still happening. All the way through Hathaway's Flash, shit is still going wrong. At the end of 00, humanity has come together. There's probably some very small factions on the outside, but for the most part, they did their job, and it's helping humanity. Humanity has reached a new level of existence. They're moving forward with the help of the L's. They're becoming a more dominant species. They're doing more. So in a lot of ways, also kind of like Stargate, where humanity starts out down here, and then the more they get out there, the more they learn from other aliens, and then they find these more advanced aliens who actually want to help them. And once they become friends with them, now they start helping humanity reach a new level within the galaxy so that they can now help become the protectors of the galaxy from other things. So the idea that the L's escaped their dying world to find some other place to live, some other species that could help, and then they encountered other species that weren't ready for them, ended up wiping them out because they couldn't communicate without quantum brainwaves. And somehow Aeolia Shinberg figured all of this out and said, I'm going to help advance humanity to the point that if this shows up, aliens are going to be like this, and we have to prep humanity to get there. And the only way to do that is together and through this very specific stages of evolution that I'm going to help along. That's why I like 00 probably more than other series, because it's not about straight war. It's about advancing humanity. Yeah, Celestial Being was 100% supposed to be a pariah. That was their entire goal, was to turn humanity on them. Yeah. TFW, your universe wars into a completely new era. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was the goal of Celestial Being, was to, they had stages. They had, okay, so now we do this. They had the plan, remember? So they said, okay, Aeolia Shinberg's plan is this. We've done all of this in the background over the last 200 years. Now humanity has reached this stage. Now it's time for us to reveal ourselves, to do what we got to do. They come in with the Gundams. They come in with Virtue. They come in with Exia. Exia being the first real show of stuff. And then, well, actually, I think technically Virtue came in first with that one attack and then stopped them. And then Exia was shown directly when, I forget which of those events happened first. It's been a minute since I watched the beginning of it. And then, they've effectively start showing off their technology and things like that. They start showing, look how much more advanced we are. You can't stop us with what you have. So stop fighting. They weren't coming in just to kill people. They did come in, they wiped out mobile suits, but they weren't killing everyone, because if you kill everyone, there's no one left to learn. The idea was to have the people left over learn and come together. That's why when the Trinity showed up and their entire goal, their armed interventions were killing everyone. They were destroying everything. They didn't leave a lot of people behind. It was, they still had the same quote unquote goal, but they were going about it differently. And then when they attacked the Federation base, where they were working on the, analyzing the GN drives and stuff like that from the data they gathered, and they wiped out that Dr. Billy's teacher, that's when it really kind of kicked things into high gear because they pissed Billy off so much. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yeah. But what's so funny is when you finally see when they put the new Federation. That's right, because it wasn't called the Federation. It was called what did they call the US in that? I forget. By the way, I love when they show like the original White House and then the new president's giant compound behind it. I thought that was cool. In a few hundred years, the White House was still there, just kind of at least symbolically. Union, duh. Of course, it was called the Union. But the idea of when they had HRF, Union, and I forgot the third faction, but when you got all their soldiers fighting side by side together, you got Sergei Smirnov and a couple other people in the same league, so to speak, together. It was actually really cool. All of a sudden, with MAs with the names of angels, it's even more plausible. Well, yeah. Well, you got to think a lot of the Gundams from 00 also had names of angels from different religions and things like that. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, no, that's if people always ask what's my favorite series, 00 is near the top for that reason of being so different. IBO is a slightly tweaked version of the UC. There's a whole lot of very similar issues happening between the two. 00 is not like that. They are turning humanity against it. Age borrows a lot from Seed, but then also has, well, in my mind, because of Minerva, is it Minerva? No, Diva. The Diva acts a bit like the Archangel in some ways, both with the main force, but also sort of doing their own thing. And then we end up with the Federation on this side growing from technology to fight the Vegans who already have advanced technology. So there's some 00-ness to that, but in the same way that Xeon developed the mobile suits in secret and then came into attack. So when the Vegans attacked with mobile suits, we had nothing like that. The only ones who did were the family that created the Gundam from historical facts and stuff like that from the previous wars centuries before that. So it's very interesting. Sergei Tovarich. But either way, no, that's why like Age. I liked Age to some degree. I've said that before. 00 is my favorite for being such a different series. Seed has so much going on that is very, very much UC, and then Seed Destiny is just retelling Seed, which was, once I saw that, I'm like, I can't unsee this now. Seed Destiny is just repeating Seed. Age copies original Gundam Zeta and Double Zeta with some things just tweaked in between. What? So what about 00 Season 3? Did someone promote the Gundam in the pilot for it and Graham Acre survive? I don't believe in anything past Awakening of a Trailblazer, so no would be the answer. Graham did not survive anything. Graham died. There's no child of Tieria, which is weird, or anything like that. In my mind, those things don't exist. That everything that they call Season 3, which was never a thing, is like that fan expo thing. I think that is all just fan made stuff and has nothing to do with real canon in my mind. The Exia Repair 4 or whatever it's called, that thing is so much bullshit. It's like, that's all I can say about it. That thing is so much bullshit. And I get that there's 00 side stories and stuff like that, because those are all set in the universe. That doesn't exist. I'm sorry. It's like, you don't get to blow up Graham Acre and then have him come back to pilot the Exia. I don't buy it in any way, shape, or form. Sorry. LAC Destiny was easier to understand than G-Reco. I never got past episode 3 of G-Reco. So there's that. Federation really wanted to stop celestial being, they would have fielded Evangelions. No, that's a whole new problem in and of itself. I've never seen Evangelion, but having to look up, different stuff about them due to watching other videos, I'm like, the Evas is like, I don't even want to mess with anything in that universe. Screw that. But yeah, I don't buy that quote unquote season 3 exists. What about double season 3? They even show some promotions, one of new Gundams and all the Gundam pilots. No, it's all BS. Yeah. All of that is BS. I think every single thing about that is just a fanfic that they decided to give the tiniest bit of credence to because people wanted something from 00. But like, the reason I say that is like, Awakening of the Trailblazer wraps everything up. Like, that is the end of that story. And it ends fine. Now, I get that there would be some stuff between that because that was decades. But like, no. It's like that doesn't, there's nothing about that I want. It's a large, dangerous hole, my friend. Careful you don't slip. What? What's up, Antonio? But yeah, so I got a lot of work to do today. I'm just bullshitting, as it were. But yeah, no, I don't believe that at all. I believe that's just fanfic, and they just gave the tiniest bit of credence to it because they needed something to do for the anniversary. I don't dig it. I think it's just a bunch of BS. Now, like I said, all the side stories that take place actually do fill out things that we would have never seen. The other factions of, because there were multiple factions of celestial beings, or celestial being. There were other, pocket cells and things like that active all over the world. It wasn't just the one group. Like, they had massive backing. They had a ton of stuff to do. They had factories. They had everything. The Gundams were produced somewhere, things we never see. We get alternate Gundams that aren't even necessarily GN, regular GN drive powered. We got the previous, second generation Gundams that we never see on screen or things like that. So that's what she said. The Eva fandom. Okay. I mean, I just don't. It's like, it looks cool, but I don't know that I ever need to watch it. Does that make sense? Like, it's one of those things that I feel like a lot like G Gundam. Had I seen it when it was new, I probably would appreciate it. I feel like trying to watch it now, I'm not going to like it as much. Same thing with like Code Geass. Code Geass just looks like Gundam Seed to me, so it's kind of hard for me to want to watch it. They look the same characters. It's like Lelouch is just like an evil Kira in my mind. And I don't mean like character driven. I mean the way he looks and acts and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, like all of his manipulations and plan and stuff like that to make things happen the way they did is pretty brilliant. But like, I feel like I don't need to watch that series. And that's fine. That's fine. By the way, I need to check. Did Gundam Info take down all of the movies they posted after the expo was over? I have not looked because I would like to actually watch a few of those things that I have never gotten to watch. Oh yeah, Tony, I should send you a thing. Hold on. I gotta scroll. There you are. This is an unfinished thing. Do not share. I'm just showing it to you because we have that supposed project eventually in the future. It's awesome. It has an infinite line of alternative timelines and depression. That's true. If you don't need to watch Eva, you're better off, but that's not about the series. What do you mean? Check your Facebook, Tony. There you go. Yeah. So that's what I've been working on. It's nowhere near done. This is just, that's me getting to the engineering of it. Yes, secrets don't make friends, guys. I bet it is what it is. But that way you get an idea of what I've been working on, and sadly what I'll have to put aside for a week. Well, maybe 2 or 3 days. But like for instance, on the custom that is right here and you guys can't see, right now it's just a kit bash. Like I have basically taken parts from 4 different kits, well, 4 separate kits, I should say, not necessarily different, and kit bashed them together. Had to do a whole lot of rearranging of parts, changing the dynamics of certain parts to make them function the way I need them to, rebuilding entire functionalities of things, stuff like that. And that's not before any scratch building, which I might have to do some major scratch building to accomplish the next thing, or I have to get some found parts that will get me there. Because there's 2 very large things I need, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find parts or if I'm going to have to build them. I like the original series in my teens, and then Evangelion started dropping all new stuff, and I couldn't hang. Yeah, I saw something about that, but like, how many different series are there for Evangelion? I know they've got the new thing that's going on right now. I don't know if that's a brand new series. I know I've seen all the new suit designs and the kits that are coming out like that, and they're not all from the original series. And what was it about the movies really screwed up the ending and stuff like that? I had friends that were massive Evangelion fans. It's just like, I feel like if I didn't watch it in the 90s, I'm not going to enjoy it now. Eva is probably the most abstract response and explanation to the rhetorical question, why me? I guess it makes sense. Okay. See, the funny thing is the chat is not all showing up at the same time. Like, I'll be looking at it and all of a sudden there's more messages that I didn't see, and they're intermixed with messages that I did see. So yes, and thank you for saying that's beautiful. I don't know what that was, but it's annoying. It has the original series and the rebuild. Okay, so rebuild of Evangelion is the new thing. Okay. But I didn't know if that was... The reason I'm asking is I didn't know if that was merely kit related, or there was a new series of the show. Or if it's a sequel series, or if it's just an expansion of what was there before. For the 4th rebuild entry. Yeah. Okay. So I think it's going to be time for me to wrap up here in a few minutes. So if you guys got some more questions about things, go ahead and knock them out right quick, because I'll go in about 10 minutes. Mike, I'm still foaming at the mouth. All right, a few more questions. We've done enough about Rearize. Let's talk about something else. Talked a lot about Rearize and things. What's the meaning of life? The meaning of life is to buy my merch. Just kidding. Anthony, you're showing up right at the end, my friend. That sucks. It's like literally about to leave here in a few minutes. So we talked a lot. We talked about Rearize. We talked about my feelings on Rearize. We talked about the weird technologies of 00 and the breaking of physics therein, and how Ahab reactors are better than GN condensers and particles and drives and solar reactors. However, everything about that is, however, having dinner. Oh, sorry, buddy. New timelines. Essentially, every iteration is a new timeline. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you're answering my previous question. Cool. Also, it's confusing when I have an Anthony and then an Antonio back to back. It's like, that's the same person. No, that's not. See, look. Okay, so here's a reply that I didn't even see. Rebuilds are just condensed retellings of the series, but breaks off in 3.0 with something different. It's just mostly fan service at this point. Oh, so kind of like the quote unquote 00 season 3. It's bullshit, is what it is. Okay, that makes sense. So they're doing with the rebuilds what Seed did with the movies, where they added new animation to certain things, condensed storylines, cut out bullshit, like the Dragon Ball Z Kai edition of said series. Why are you buzzing at me again? Yeah, so literally, okay, so I was reading the comments, saw two comments that were together, and then all of a sudden, boop, there's a new comment in between. So that's really weird how that's working. So I wonder if that's a lag on y'all's end. The rebuild series is slightly off in wavelength from the TV series and continues to amplify until it does something entirely different. That's what, yeah, was what I said earlier. Full Metal Alchemist versus Brotherhood. Yeah, that totally makes sense. But what about the ultra compact nuclear fission reactor? I mean, I like them, but nuclear power is so 2001. We're all about quantum physics bending abilities of our particles. So on your ultra compact nuclear fission reactors. Sorry, those are nuclear reactors in Gundams is so absurd. And I get that they basically use that in many different timelines to some degree, but like that's nuts. Especially when you think about the fact that Kira is basically sitting, is it directly above or directly under a nuclear reactor in the Freedom? It's like, that's why when he explodes, it's like, oh yeah, sure, he can just survive a nuclear explosion on top of his head. The series took nearly a decade off between 3 and 4. Oh, so it's like being a Sherlock fan. It's like, oh, you've been waiting how long for a series? It's like Sherlock fandom. Did Wing use nuclear? That's a question because I have not watched Wing in so long. I don't remember. I know they had their reactors were rather explosive, so to speak. Were they nuclear? I know that Seed made a particular big deal out of it because of the end jammers and then end jammer cancelers. They're like, we can't technically stop the end jammers, but we can make things that cancel out locally the effect of them. It's like, oops. It's like, sorry, we accidentally broke down all nuclear fission on the planet. We know that kind of hindered you. Okay. Jetalone, look it up, is the most derpy robot ever fielded. Ultra compact fusion reactor is all it says. Fusion of what? By definition, does a fusion reactor have to be nuclear? Or radioactive, I should say. I think they just use certain particles for fusion. I don't know, but I can look it up. What? Jet? Did I spell that? Nope, that is not how you spell that. I spelled that wrong. I don't know about you guys. For some reason, like after the last update, I feel like I'm having more issues typing. Isn't that just Jet Jaguar? Oh, you mean from Evangelion? That thing's badass. What are you talking about? This? That thing's badass. It doesn't look like it's from this universe. Oh, that's Jet Alone 2. Hold on. Oh, this one. Oh, it looks like it's got like the whale baleen face. Is that what you're... Oh, that one. I've seen that. I didn't know what it was. Okay. I understand now. I like the 2. That was cool. So why does it? Okay, hold on. I look up. Why does it have a picture of Jet Jack? Weird. Okay, so when I googled it, the top thing does show the wiki entry for the Jet alone, or however you say that. But for some reason, the thumbnail for said thing was Jet Jaguar from Jet Jaguar Godzilla. Now this thing, it's interesting in its own right, but it looks more like a Bleach hollow. Like it really does. It looks like something from Bleach. That's funny. Well, it probably means that Bleach probably copied it, huh? And essentially, it's what own thing, then end happens, and all the other media, manga, spin-offs, and rebuilds are their own universes. So they're all just slightly alternate timelines. That makes sense. How dumb is it to sit on top of a nuke and then fight another mobile suit? Very. Is that what it was with the reactor below him? Without being too spoilery, it's one event at the end creates millions of different universes, some with happy, some sad, all Eva. Interesting. Ano was heavily influenced Toku still, that's probably why. And the weirdest thing about NGE is that all the series are connected linearly. That is odd. Travis Armstrong, hello. So getting more viewers as I'm about to go. Why does this always happen? Okay, is a bipedal robot developed by Japan Heavy Chemical Industries designed to replace the Evangelions. Oh, so it's like they're like, okay, so we don't want you to really have that. So this is our own thing. Okay, it has an internal nuclear reactor, likely a pressurized water reactor. Interesting. Functions at least 150 consecutive days. Requires no pilot and is controlled by onboard computer. Oh, so it's actually the Jaeger drone from Pacific Rim Uprising. The movie is so bad. Give me a second. I'm going to look at this ultra compact. That's not how you spell that. Compact. Is it fission or fusion? Which one is it? Fusion reactor. Okay. Oh. What? Lockheed Martin fusion. They have those, apparently. Yeah. Lockheed Martin has basically tried to create an ultra compact fusion reactor in actual life. Ultra compact Minovsky fusion reactor. So there are different type of fusion reactors. Interesting. Applies that the ratio of plasma pressure to magnetic pressure is greater than or equal to 1 compared to the tokamak. Oh, that's compact fusion reactor design. Fusion. Ooh, interesting. They basically have tiny fusion reactors. That's funny. It's an homage to her Jaguar. Interesting. They're not really denying UFOs anymore. I don't know if anybody's actually paid attention to that. That they basically said that some things technically exist that have that. Okay, hold on. Gundam Wiki. Sorry, this article seems to be incomplete. It seems to be very incomplete as there's no information about it. So let's back that up. Okay. Let's see, huh? Mobile suit, no scanning, new types, conventional weapons. Oh dear God, this is so much shit. Okay. See, it is interesting that Minovsky particles, GN particles, and Ahab particles all have the same kind of functionality when disrupting EM fields and communication. Conspiracy uncovered. Yeah. Let's see here. Gundam Minovsky. Oh yeah, I forgot the Minovsky ultra compact fusion reactor was a thing. So, but that's Minovsky particle, not nuclear. Nuclear. Artificial gravity. Oh, they can do that too. Laser propulsion, linear car, mass driver, normal suit. This is just all the technology. Okay. That's like literally just like, hey, you want to do all this? Okay. nuclear. Let's go nuclear. I'm Googling things. Yeah, that's funny that Lockheed Martin has basically tried to create that. They're basically like small, if you know what a tokamak is, which is the closest thing to fusion that we currently have, which is also very similar to Tony Stark's thing. So basically they've tried to shrink that and make it more effective. See, I'm trying to find, what do Gundams run on? Okay. Interesting. We found out something new. Who knew that would be a thing? My Google results are going to be so weird from now on. Actually, this has some footage, but not saying ET. They renamed, I forgot what the term is now. The new term for UFOs is some other bullshit. Jet was originally made to be pilotless in order to be made more human, as the only way to use EVO was to use children, specifically teenagers, which pointed out the potentiality to harm them. Yeah. I can sneeze in it and disrupt EM fields. My device has small EM field disruption footprints. That's just weird, Hida. But either way, I believe that is long enough. So I'm going to go ahead and get my day started. So thanks for watching, everybody who did come to hang out. No, obviously, we're not going to be doing any Gundam review series for the time being, because we don't know what we're going to do from now on. Battlogs aren't for a while. So when those do come out, we will be doing reviews. Sometime soon, we'll probably be doing some other type of get-together between myself and Rodimus on Sundays. But I'm not going to lie, not having to stay up till 11 p.m. on Sundays to do that is pretty cool. So we'll figure out something in the future. But thanks for coming and hanging out. Anyways, I'm going to try to get something up on the channel this week, because I have other large robots right there that I'm going to work on today to get reviews started. So, of course, if you are a Patreon, you're going to see some other things behind the scenes as we go. They've already gotten 2 out-the-box reviews of things that hadn't necessarily hit things. Also, go subscribe to the secondary channel if you want to see more of the action figures, and go subscribe to the third channel, because that exists now, if you're more interested in, well, non-robots and action figures and other interest. You know, that the third channel is for the things that have nothing to do with this kind of stuff or the stuff over here. It's just all my other interests that I find interesting, and it is linked somewhere. Actually, you know what? I have not linked that necessarily, but go find it. It is called It Doesn't Have to Make Sense. I've shared it in my community tab, so go check that out. And I gained some subscribers yesterday, and then quickly lost a couple. And I think I think I may have ever so slightly annoyed a YouTube rapper. Some people are so fickle. Always late here. That's cool. Thanks for the stream. Got my fix for the week. I might do a couple other live streams this week just to get some kind of content out. But I need to get back to actual reviews of things. I have 3 things in particular sitting right there that need to be reviewed. I have figures that need to be put away. I have an entire shelf of figures that needs to be stood back up, and I need to clean up this room while doing reviews. My floor is literally, no pun intended, littered with boxes. But guys, I'll catch you next time, and remember, as always, to keep on nerding, to keep on building, and let's keep building this community together. And if you are a patroneer, you'll see the build logs of the custom before other people, because that'll be coming up this week as well. So, bye.